Hello, my loves. I received a question here on the channel around how to cultivate intuition. And there's a few things that I want to talk to you about today. One, starting with one of the most important things, which is actually cultivating self-trust. Because learning to trust the information that you're receiving is a very key important part of trusting and gaining and growing your intuition. Because it's just like any other muscle. We actually have to use it and work with it in order to develop it. Okay. And so when you're dropping into learning to trust yourself, okay, it's this dance. It's a new process because you've grown up in a world that taught you how to follow the logical steps, how to get from A to B to C to Z, right? All those in between. And it was in a very logical way that you take steps to get to those places. But at the same time, although that may work, it's also very, very limiting. Okay. Because there's a lot more potential. And also, there might be a lot of other ways to get from A to Z. So, developing this energy of trusting yourself above and beyond the logic is important. This doesn't mean we forego logic. We definitely take that into consideration because we want to use our intuition to the best of our ability, which also includes embodying into our physical human form in the material world and using the logic and the intuition together. Okay. And so, this trust part, especially when you're getting started, is at first acknowledging that you're getting information or intuitive hits that may not be logical, or you're receiving ideas, impressions, visions, or just sort of this internal knowing of the way that you feel that you want to go. It might feel good, it might feel exciting. And at the same time, it could feel somewhat scary because it's different than what everyone around you is doing or saying. Okay. So you just want to really start out. You can start out small, okay, if this is a newer thing for you, and just start noticing those intuitive impressions and start to give them trust. Okay, really start to allow those to lead you. And it could be something as simple as like you're getting ready to run out the door and the sun is out and you have sandals on, and all of a sudden you get this vision in your mind to grab your sneakers or to grab some boots. And logically, in the moment, it doesn't make any sense, but you're noticing that you're receiving this impression, and I would like you to honor it because, as intuitive as I am, I still receive impressions like this. And the times that I ignore it because I'm rushing out the door and I'm too busy, every single time I wish I grabbed those boots or sneakers. Okay, loves. So just start building it in those simple ways. It could be like where you're going out to grab some food or going into the grocery store, and instead of having a list, allow your intuitive senses to guide you to the foods that feel good and in alignment with you. These are just a couple little ways to start to develop and expand on those senses and trusting yourself. Okay. Notice what your body is craving as you're learning to trust your own senses. Okay. And the other part that I wanted to talk to you about, because this is a very, very important part. We sometimes talk about instincts and intuition as being synonymous or the same thing. And there is definitely a space of overlap within those energies and where they connect and where the intuition and the instincts are very much in alignment. But there's another part that's also very important, that there are also a lot of times where our instincts are based on our past experiences, and they're an important part of being a human being on this planet. So this isn't about getting rid of the instincts, it's about understanding the difference between instincts and intuition so you're able to discern where you're actually coming from and where your information is coming from. Okay. So your instincts are going to very much oftentimes come from a state of survival. And this could be that you're just picking up on energies and clues, let's say in a relationship. Let's say you meet someone and they feel like they have a similar energy to someone from your past or someone that you know. Maybe they look like that person, maybe they speak like that person, maybe they have an air about them or an energy about them that is resonating with something from your past. You definitely want to pay attention to this, right? So that you're not repeating the same patterns. But also at the same time, it's very, very important to go into it with the understanding that this is a different person. And even though they may have some similar qualities, they are a different person. So the experience is going to also be different. And the thing that is the same is actually you. Okay, my love. So if a pattern is coming up or a trigger is coming up, this is an opportunity for you to take a step back and learn how to work with discernment versus judgment, which that's going to be a whole other video. But discernment is where you're trusting your intuition and instincts and caring for yourself. Judgment is where you make a blanket judgment about someone before you actually get to discern the truth. Okay. And there's a little bit of a difference. So when the instinct kicks in, say you're sensing some qualities that or energies that triggered from something that you experienced that was uncomfortable or that you don't want to experience anymore. And so you're in this situation where those information or triggers are coming up in your system. And this is bringing up a red flag for you instinctively because you've had that past experience. Now, it also absolutely may be an intuitive red flag that is saying, do not engage further with this person. Okay. There's going to be some instances where you're just going to know and you're just going to go. Okay. There's also going to be other times where you're uncertain and or you're in a situation where you have to drop deeper into learning how to discern the difference. Okay. I, of course, want you to honor whatever you need to do in that moment. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm simply here to offer some insights and perspectives that may help you sort of unravel the differences. Okay, especially if you have some trauma in your background. Okay. So, again, you're in a situation and you're feeling some similarities. You're not sure how to maneuver it. So, what I suggest is sort of energetically, you, when you have the space and time, you take time for yourself to sit with the energy and honor one, what's up in your system. Why is the trigger there? And is it something from the past? And what can you do to support yourself through that? Right? Because it's also an opportunity to drop deeper into clearing out your trauma response and also clearing out that energy of the trauma so that you're not continuously drawing that energy into your life in that way. Okay. So that's one thing. Another thing is as you're going through that, the instincts you're going to notice are going to be highly triggered. You're going to want to run. You're going to feel like you have anxiety. You're going to feel worked up and you're going to feel those physical energies like the heat or the worry or the fear or the sadness or the anger, the wanting to wall or run or freeze or get away. Those are very much connected to our survival instincts. Again, there can be an overlap with the intuition, but this is why taking the time to sit with yourself and to discern which parts are which can be very helpful, not only for the situation, but actually understanding your own internal mechanisms and how you process information. And as you sort of unravel and understand these reactions, then you will be able to have more self mastery over them. And this isn't to suppress the feelings or to suppress the instincts or the intuition. This is about understanding what you're working with. It's like taking the reins of your emotions and allowing them to become a tool that is helpful, because our emotions are actually very, very important. And not suppressing our emotions is a very important skill to have in order to discern what is actually in our best interest, because our emotions are there to tell us that something does or doesn't feel right. Okay. Now, the responsible part, as long as you're not in danger, is to take those next steps and start to discern, why am I feeling this discomfort? Is it just about me? Is there something that I genuinely need to look at? And so when you are sort of sorting through that, the intuitive parts are going to feel like just an inner knowing without any emotional charge. You're going to feel pretty neutral about it. And you're just going to feel like, you know what? I know that I can have a conversation with this person and sort of unfold and see if there's something more there. Let's see if it's really just my trauma response, or if there's something warranted that I need to concern myself with. Okay. Or you're going to say, you know what, that was just my trauma response. I definitely, as I worked through my trauma response and I reconnected with the person, I feel safe to open up to the next steps, right? There's this way of sort of knowing. And I think that this is important because why learning to discern these different levels, at least for me, I found to be very important, is because before I had good energetic boundaries, my system was sort of either shut down, walled off, and frozen in protective mode, or I was like wide open, like feeling all of these amazing energies and wanting to be super close with people. Okay. And what I have learned is actually it's really important to have some energetic boundaries in our systems. I like to call them energetic cushions. Okay. I will use myself as an example to express I did not have those in my system growing up because one, I was not taught those. Two, I actually grew up in quite a bit of trauma and abuse. And I definitely had a lot of survival mechanisms that and defense mechanisms that I learned to survive within those circumstances. And so I'm very, very familiar with these energetics on a lot of levels. And the things that I'm sharing here with you are based on what I have learned through my own healing and discernment processes. Okay. So it's really, again, like I said, learning the differences between you, not to squish or get rid of any one part of those, but to actually honor each of those aspects of your abilities so that you understand your own internal voice and what these parts of you are trying to tell you, because all of the parts of you have value. Your ego, your intuition, your logic, your instincts, right? Your shadow, your light, all of these parts are important. All of these parts are a bigger piece of who you are as a being, and allowing yourself to open up to these processes of discerning your own internal voices will give you sort of the reins back of understanding your abilities. And as you discern yourself better, as you discern your own internal messaging, it will become easier and easier and easier to discern more quickly what you're receiving from people externally in the energetic realms. Okay. I hope this is making sense to you. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know if you would like to go a bit deeper into this. But I just really want to, again, honor both the instinct and the intuition. Again, the instinct sometimes and the intuition, sometimes they're going to meet, and the more you harness this, the more strongly you develop your understanding of these parts of yourself. You're going to go into situations and you're going to be like, you know what? I know what I'm feeling. I might not know exactly what it is, but I know that my intuition and my instinct is saying to take a bit of a step back and observe this situation until I receive more information. Okay. Sometimes when we're coming from an instinct and it's based on a past trigger, what will happen is the flood of memories from past experiences or past people will come up in our system, and then we will automatically see that person as those same energies and put up a wall and want to just run away and get away out of the gate. Again, I'm going to encourage you, of course, if you're not in any form of immediate danger, to please allow yourself to work through this process internally. Honor what you're feeling. Take a step back and care for yourself. Notice where those walls came up, or where you wanted to freeze, or where you wanted to run. Care for yourself. Honor that part of yourself that intuitively or and instinctively said, we need to protect ourselves, and this means to step back. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to reiterate, this is the part where you sit with yourself and give yourself the space to actually find out the truth. Okay. There was definitely some truth in your instinct and intuition to take a step back. Okay. But this is an important part of unraveling the walling, the freezing, and the running out of our systems. Okay. And the next part I want to say about that is it's about dropping in the trust with yourself of deciding as you go through this process how you want to move forward with that person or that experience. And based on what you receive, you can decide, okay, you know what? I'm going through a lot right now. I'm not ready to deal with that. So I'm going to take a break from it. But there also might be a time where you're working through the instinctive part, you've cleaned up the trigger, you realize where the thread came from, you got yourself some support to sort of work through that pattern back to the beginning or whatever was coming up in your system, whether it's PTSD therapy, energy work, talk, whatever it is that works for you, coaching, however you process. And if you need support on that, get yourself some because it's worth it. Okay, loves? Just find whatever works for you is really what's most important. And then when you feel in a comfortable place and you feel like what you've discerned is correct for you in that intuitive space, it, like I said, it's going to feel in alignment. At this point, it's going to sound interesting, but you can choose not to participate in a relationship without being triggered and without needing to project it onto that person. You can simply just make a decision that's in alignment with you and for you and where you want to go in your life. This is a deeper way that we can unravel the judgment and simply move into discernment of what, again, it is that we want to align with and participate in. There's also going to be times where you're going to have someone who's meant to be in your life potentially trigger you and bring these things up into your system, and not because they're embodying those potential triggers, but because maybe you feel a love or a support from them that is safe enough to allow the triggers to come up in your system. This is why learning to discern the difference is very, very important, because we're also not wanting to push away the people that we love or the people that genuinely love us and care for us and want to walk side by side with us, okay? And that responsibility is internal to learn our inner voice in what it's telling us and how to discern that within. Again, that will help us support the energies, externally, okay? And again, the intuition is strengthened by building that inner trust, trusting the information that you are receiving, but also being trustworthy enough within yourself to know, okay, there's a lot happening right now. I know that something doesn't feel right, but I'm not quite sure what exactly it is or where it's coming from. So I'm going to sit with it and actually discover what's true for me. So if someone is bringing up a trigger, okay, so say there was someone in your past who lied to you, and you meet someone that reminds you of that person. So you go into a defensive mode that they're a liar, okay? And they may or may not be. We're just going to sit with that for a moment. As you process your trigger and then you go back, you can actually notice, like you open up and you notice what you're picking up from the person. But instead of labeling them as a liar, you could literally just say, okay, something doesn't feel quite right. I'm not sure exactly what it is yet. It's reminding me of this energy. So I know that potential is there. I'm going to give it space to show me. I'm not going to bypass it and pretend it's not there. And I'm not going to bypass and double down to saying it definitely is if I don't know the facts yet. Okay. But I'm going to observe. And in this observation, I am going to build my muscle of intuition and instinct and allowing the two to become my best friends within this process where I'm listening to all of myself and giving myself the space to discern what is true for me. Okay, my loves, I hope this is helpful. I think it's kind of getting long, but this is such a deeply important topic. If you want to hear more about this, drop it in the comments. If you want to connect with me to drop deeper into your own intuition, I will also drop my one-on-one schedule in the pinned comment. I'm so grateful to be here with you and for all of you who have already connected and subscribed to the channel. I'm really, really excited about this journey with you and these next steps and stages in and on our evolutionary journey as we are learning how to embrace ourselves more deeply so that we can embrace others more deeply. I love you so very much. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.